Hi, Adam Thomas from Balancing Touch, and on this channel I like to share things that I've learned and picked up along my reflexology path and share them with you to the best of my ability. Today I have a little story that I remember way back when I had just finished studying reflexology, and I was still had a question about how does the body fit on the feet. So I got out my pencil crayons and a lot of anatomy books to discover and draw how it would fit on the foot. And so I started this little project, and I never knew that it would actually turn into a chart behind me. And I never knew it could give me some great insights. And so I want to share a story with you today of one of the insights and experiences I had right when I had only finished, I think it was the skeletal system and the digestive system. Okay, so these were the first ones that I ever finished. Yeah, they didn't look this nice because they weren't printed on this beautiful snaps paper. But these two were the ones that I started with. I started with the skeletal system, and then I followed it up with the digestive system. And I printed them out because I had a health show that I was going to be running a reflexology booth at. And so I brought these charts, and I brought some other, I brought my teacher's chart because I didn't have this one at the time, and some other, some feet and some other brochures on reflexology to promote how great reflexology is, right? And beside me was a yoga school. And so I was sort of watching her set up her stuff, and I was trying to figure out, because it was one of my first shows I'd ever been at, so I was trying to figure out, how does this look, and make sure everything looks okay. And I noticed that she was looking over going, those look interesting, right? And then, doors opened and it was busy. And I wanted to talk to this lady because, I wanted to know more information. And I could see too that she was sort of looking over and watching when I was talking to people. And then there was a bit of a quiet time, and we were able to talk. And right away she sort of leaned over and she had a question for me, and she asked me, my yoga instructor is always asking me to spread and open up this part of my foot. So what does that mean? What in reflexology, what is this part of the foot? Because I couldn't actually see her feet, it wouldn't be that, we were at a health show, I couldn't say, let me see your feet. The next best thing was that I had just created these charts, and so I handed it over this chart, which is the skeletal system. And I said, well, if we look at this part of the foot, it's the arm sort of is sitting up here like this. And so this area here represents your wrist, which is in that little divot, which she was saying here. That's more like your wrist and hand area, right? And she almost looked at me and like, really? That's amazing. I'm like, yeah, well, the chart here is just sort of saying, this is the hand and stuff, or it could be shoulder and related to that by this chart, right? And it was really interesting because it's almost like her jaw dropped, because she's like, that's crazy, because my wrist and my hands have been driving me nuts lately. Ever since they've been driving me nuts, my yoga instructor told me that I need to open up my feet more. And as we talked and the more that we got to know each other, I found out that her yoga teacher was really keen on focusing in on the feet. She found that the feet were just so important that once you have a good foundation in your feet, that the rest of the body has a good foundation to sit on, right? So any problems in the feet reflects in the rest of the body. And so for her to open up this part would allow her to open up her shoulder and wrist and arms, would allow that a lot more, flexibility and a lot more openness. And, because I guess she was kind of closing down this way, she was telling me. And so it's really interesting just by having these charts available. And I didn't have to explain or even see her feet. She just had a question, and she was able to look at the charts, and I just sort of showed her what area it was related to, and she could read that it was like the hand, wrist, and arm. And she was able to get some great insight onto also the importance of how what her instructor was telling her, which didn't really make sense to her. It's like, why do I need to open up that part of my foot when, other parts of my body feel not as flexible, right? And so it really helped her understand that, yes, the feet are so important. By opening up that part, I'm going to help the rest of my body. So she was able to get that insight just off of a drawing, right? Which I thought was absolutely amazing. So not only do these charts serve a purpose as far as teaching a reflexologist where the points are and helping understand that way, it also allows clients to understand themselves better. And sometimes I find too that, at least for myself, I know if somebody's telling me a lot of information, I sort of like glaze over and, I stop listening basically and absorbing any information. But when I have a specific question and I'm given a chart and I'm given my own space to kind of explore that, I learn and also get information in on a deeper level of stuff that I need to process, right? So anyway, so not only do these work for reflexologists, but they work for anybody who's never really worked with feet before, and it's a great tool. So anything like this, a great tool to have around in your session room or any type of event that you go to. I also have books that I have little bookmarks in, and it's basically my cheat sheets. I feel that I don't need to know everything all the time, and of course you need to know a fair amount of stuff, and always learning is a great thing, but I find that I can't retain enough, and then when somebody asks me a question, a direct question, I kind of sometimes get like the deer in headlights kind of scenario. And so I have sort of found ways to work around that, and one of them is I created these charts for myself, and they're also available for you guys as well, because it turned into something bigger than study material for myself, and I wanted to have them. They turned out better than I thought they were going to, right? I sat down with pencil crayons and drew them. But they just turned out so great that I wanted to have them available and share them with you guys. So yes, they are available. If you go to balancingtouch.ca, you can find on the store, you can find them there. And yeah, you can get great insights and different ways on how to use the systems of the body charts, right? This is just one example. Anytime I have a question asked, anytime I have a client ask me a question, I immediately refer to my charts, right? So if it's digestive issues, for example, we bring out the digestive chart and find out anywhere on their foot that might be bothering them, right? And this is really great too to give as sort of home play or homework, is once they have this visual in their head, they can kind of understand how and where it is that they need to work, right? So anyway, I just wanted to share that little story with you, and it's something that I totally forgot about until this morning, right? So I wanted to just, make a quick video on it. So again, any tool to just help you with your reflexology session is such a great thing. I have some books that I have little, bookmarks in, that if we're working with certain emotions or issues and things like that, I bring that out and I give that to the client, right? And so I want to know places to have information. I don't necessarily have to keep it up here because I'm just not wired that way, right? Things go through, I process them, I work with them, and then they go out again, and that's just the way that I work, and I'm sure I'm not the only one out there. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you. Get some tools that help you, and I'd love to hear about what kind of tools and things that you offer your clients during your session that has been a great benefit to you. So anyway, thanks for watching. Adam Thomas from Balancing Touch, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do. Let's create a great community, and I will see you in the next video. So if you want to see a quick little video on my Balancing Touch Reflexology Foot Chart, you can click here. So since I was talking about the anatomy charts, click here to see a video on those charts.